I'm excited to kick off this webinar with our first speaker, Payam Pourkhomami. Payam serves as President and CEO of OSIbeyond, a leading provider of managed IT and cybersecurity services. OSIbeyond is an RPO with the Cyber AB and has assisted numerous DoD contractors with assessment preparation. Payam has extensive knowledge of the CMMC program and is a CMMC RP.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you all for joining today. I'd like to start by taking a few minutes and give a brief overview of the CMMC program to ensure that everyone has the same foundational understanding of what CMMC is going to consist of. So starting out, CMMC was developed to protect the U.S. defense industrial base from cyber threats, particularly against nation-state actors. The DoD's position is that contractors are already expected to comply with the existing DFARS 7012 regulation, which aligns with NIST 800-171 controls, but we all know that is not exactly the case at the moment. So the DoD introduced CMMC as a verification component to ensure the protection of national security. The DoD recently released the new restructured CMMC 2.0 proposed final rule on December 26, 2023, which we're going to discuss in further detail today. All right, so who is subject to CMMC? All contractors who do business with the DoD are going to be subject to CMMC, with the exception of those who provide commercial off-the-shelf products, also known as COTS. So whether you're a prime or a sub, if you plan on bidding on future DoD contracts, you will need to be CMMC certified prior to the contract being awarded. The specific CMMC level of compliance will be designated by the DoD for each specific contract. And the specific CMMC level required will depend on the contract, if the contract involves assessing, processing, or storing FCI or CUI data. In terms of the timeline, currently we're on step 7 of this graphic that you see on the screen. Over the next year, the DoD will be finalizing the CMMC 2.0 proposed final rule. The estimated launch of CMMC 2.0 is Q1 of 2025, about a year from now, which we expect the rule to be included in new contracts. For the initial 6 months, there will only be a requirement for self-assessment and attestations by contractors, stating that you're compliant when bidding on the contract. By Q3 of 2025, about 6 months after the launch of CMMC 2.0, they will be adding the third-party assessment requirement for Level 2 certifications. Roughly a year later, by Q3 of 2026, third-party assessments will be added for optional and extension periods. And finally, by Q3 of 2027, the full rollout of CMMC 2.0 will be included in all DoD solicitations and contracts. All right, so in terms of the CMMC 2.0 framework itself, there are now 3 streamlined levels. Starting out the bottom, working our way up, CMMC Level 1 has 17 practices. It's intended for contractors who only hold federal contract information, or FCI, and validates 17 requirements derived from FAR 52.204-21. For clarity, FCI is defined as information not intended for public release that is provided by or generated for the government under a contract to develop or deliver a product or service to the government. The key change to CMMC Level 1 is that it was moved to a self-assessment model with the release of CMMC 2.0, and this remains unchanged in the proposed final rule. At CMMC Level 2, there are 110 practices. It's intended for contractors who hold controlled unclassified information, or CUI, and validates the implementation of the 110 requirements contained in NIST SP 800-171 Revision 2. CUI is defined as government-created or owned information that requires safeguarding, is not classified information, and is information that is provided to contractors by the DoD to perform the contract. In CMMC 2.0, Level 2 directly aligns with the NIST 800-171 Revision 2 security requirements. In addition, in CMMC 2.0, a self-assessment option was added. However, it will likely only be viable for a small percentage of contractors. So most contractors will have to be third-party certified at level 2 or above. CMMC level 3 has 134 practices. It's intended for contractors who who per the DoD support its most critical programs and technologies. Contractors who are already selected for a DIPCAC high assessment are possibly going to be level 3 candidates. And level 3 assessments will be conducted by DIPCAC directly and not by a C3PAO. CMMC level 3 includes all CMMC level 2 requirements, plus 24 additional requirements selected from the NIST SP 800-172. It's also important to note that DIPCAC's available bandwidth for assessments will constrain the number of contracts that may have level 3 requirements. So most contractors may not be required to be level 3 compliant. So with that, I hope this gives you a good overview of the CMMC program. I want to hand it back to Kate and the rest of my colleagues who will discuss the assessment process in detail. Kate, back to you.
Thank you so much, Payam, for the CMMC overview.